Hello and welcome to Unraveled with Marvi Sirmed, where we unravel the critical issues shaping our world today. I'm your host, Marvi Sirmed, and in this episode, joining us is a distinguished guest, Khurram Siddiqui. Khurram Siddiqui is a research associate at the Freie Universität in Berlin. He has extensively researched and written about counterinsurgency strategies and the complex dynamics of regional conflicts. His latest book, Security of the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, CPEC, Counterinsurgency in Balochistan, offers a comprehensive analysis of the security challenges and the evolving counterinsurgency approaches in one of Pakistan's most volatile regions. Tonight, we will explore the insights and arguments presented in his book, discussing the intersection of military strategy, regional stability, and the geopolitical implications of CPEC. Welcome, Mr. Khurram Siddiqui.
Thank you very much, Marvi, for inviting me to your show. Thank you.
It's a privilege. Thank you very much. So let me start with the question. Well, there has been a general impression for the past several years, since 2019 to be precise, that the progress on CPEC projects has been slow and has in fact come to a near halt. Do you agree with this assessment? If yes, on what indicators and why has it happened?
Yes, first of all, let me highlight that for this CPEC, if you talk from the Chinese point of view, Balochistan and especially the port of Gwadar is of strategic value to them. They are very, very sensitive about the situation in Balochistan because the port of Gwadar gives them an opening to the Indian Ocean, to the Arabian Sea and the Indian Ocean. And in case of any blockade at the Strait of Malacca, we know the trouble in the South China Sea. So their energy imports, especially the oil, can reach through this CPEC, this Indian Ocean, and through the corridor, it can reach them. And it is 10,000 kilometers less of a journey than coming all the way through South China Sea. So this is very important. Now, as far as your question is concerned, that the progress is slow, yes. The progress is a bit slow, especially in the last government. I mean, some projects were put on hiatus due to certain reasons. And recently, the big issue is the confidence of the Chinese companies in the security situation in Pakistan in general and in Balochistan in particular. And that's something which the senior minister recently has highlighted in Islamabad. So yes, because you know that for smooth functioning, you need to have a good security environment. And unfortunately, for last couple of years, the security situation is not very good. So yes, the progress is slow.
But you see, security situation was not very bad in 2019 and in 2019 on still 2022. But we used to hear that the progress is halted, progress is not there. And we also heard that Mr. Imran Khan's government and establishment of that military establishment of that time was not very favorable towards CPEC projects. So do you think that was to some extent true?
Well, during the Imran Khan's government, actually, the things got strained because of some irresponsible statements from some of his ministers. Like, I remember that one of the ministers, in his sheer exuberance, said that there are corruption evidences in Multan Sakhar motorway. And to the surprise, never have seen this, that the embassy of the China in Pakistan, they give rebuttal to that statement. So yes, and then as far as the role of the military establishment is concerned, many a times the military diplomacy, I would say, come into play and they normalize the things. So you're correct to the extent that the security situation was not as bad, but the progress was a bit slow. But the military establishment has always been standing behind the CPEC, and many times, the then Chief of Army Staff, General Qamar Bajwa, had to visit Beijing, and he had to assure them that they are really committed to it. But now, as currently is the security situation is a big issue, and in the last month, you see the attacks on the Chinese engineers. So that's a problem now.
Okay, yeah. So that gives me a segue to my next question. It's about, as you mentioned, Mr. Liu Jianxiao's visit, who's the head of the International Development Department of Communist Party of China. He led a delegation to visit Pakistan. And one thing that stood out in his, statements while he was in Pakistan, and it made headlines, was about his concern about the security situation in Pakistan. Following which, Pakistan's top leadership got together and approved a new military operation named Azm-e-Istehkam. Although the very scant details are available right now about this, but going by the media reports, it seems the focus is more on counter-terrorism rather than COIN, as you say in your book, COIN, Counter-Insurgency. How do you assess that, and how do you see the effectiveness and potential of the strategy that has been mentioned?
Yes, the remarks from the senior ministers were really an eye-opener, because we see that since mid-2022, if I can say, is a political tug of war is going on. I'm not affiliated or with any political party, but I'm just presenting my view from the standpoint of neutrality as a researcher who looks into it without any affiliation with any party or blaming or absolving any party from anything. So since mid-2022, it appears to the world here in the West and in China that is a political tug of war is going on, and it appears that all the state institutions are involved in it, like starting from the apex court, only the political cases are being heard. It appears, this is the perception which the international community and especially the Chinese have right now, because I work here with the Chinese academics and with the international community who look at Pakistan from research perspective. So obviously, Mr. Jianxiao's comments, he had 3 points essentially. The topmost point was the security situation, and he said in clear terms that the Chinese companies, they are they are not very confident in investing now because of the security problem, and that's the main point. And then he talked about the unified political efforts to bring the nation on a consensus, which is very positive for the CPEC. And the third is the misinformation campaign, which he has highlighted in the media, in the mainstream media or on the social media. So all these 3 points, actually, if I see, it was a heads up for all those who are at the helm of affairs. And before his visit, even the visit of the Prime Minister and the Army Chief to China recently, so there were the reports in the Pakistani media and in international media that they are demanding a full-scale operation as of the quantum and pace of Zerbe earlier, which had been to ensure foolproof security. And the case in point was the very sad and tragic incident of Shangla, where 5 engineers, 5 Chinese nationals were they were killed in suicide bombing. And unfortunately, I heard the irony of the fate is that the defense minister, a couple of days back in a TV program, he said that this explosive-laden vehicle, it crossed over Pakistan from the Chaman border in Balochistan, and it reached in 10 days up to Shangla. Now, I would like to mention here that this distance is over 1,100 kilometers. And it reached to Shangla, and it blasted there. So this speaks of the security situation.
Could you also explain the role of NACTA in it? Pakistan has this national agency for counterterrorism. And there have been some, in the past, some tensions between different, as happens in all the, almost all the countries, within the intelligence community, there's always a tension. So there have been some tensions among Pakistan's agencies as well. So when you explain what is the security challenge, what are the security challenges in Balochistan, could you also explain the role of NACTA therein?
And thank you very much for reminding me. It's a very, very relevant thing. I would certainly. Thanks for reminding this. Actually, coming over to the problem in Balochistan, it's not very simple as it appears to, or as you see people portray it, that there is a separatist movement, insurgents there of BLA and Baloch Liberation Army, Baloch Republican Army, and they want, they want independence or something. No, we need to understand, if I use the ecological metaphor, the conflict ecosystem, the environment, where different actors are there, and they keep evolving and adapting, as in the ecosystem various elements are. So same is the problem with the Balochistan. First of all, we should remember that Balochistan has porous borders with Afghanistan and Iran. This is one thing. And then there are different type of organizations. They exist in Balochistan. One is the Baloch Insurgent Organization, of which we hear very often. But other than that, there are sectarian militant organizations also there. And that is very important. And then the international jihadists, like the Islamic State, till 2019, the government of Pakistan was just relegating the claims that there is some presence of Islamic State in Pakistan, but now it's no more the practice, and they know that they also exist there. Then we should remember that Balochistan is on the international drug superhighway, which leads from Balochistan, enters into Balochistan Sistan in Iran, and this drug money is used for buying weapons and logistic support. And the third thing is the stakes of Iran also. I mean, Iran is also a stakeholder. We remember a couple of months ago, they fired missiles in Balochistan, and Pakistan reciprocated, because these Baloch separatists, they have a large sympathizers base inside Iran and Afghanistan. And lastly, the role of the Indian intelligence is no secret. On the web, we have the videos, the speech of Mr. Ajit Deol, where he's very loudly saying that what he can do in Balochistan. Then there are movies on Netflix, that how there's one of the movies I saw, that how they send their agents in Balochistan. And then the remarks of Mr. Moody a couple of years ago. So, and then the case of Kulbhushan Yadav. So all these factors, now we should see that. And then the Hazara genocide is going on, the sectarian strife. So all these factors are there, and only resorting to kinetic actions against the insurgents, I think is not very wise. A comprehensive strategy needs to be there. And now, and one thing more, which I would like to highlight, although it's not exactly the subject, but just I want to highlight, that is the changing and evolving nature of the organization. For instance, they are making alliances with each other. Now, would you wonder that an international jihadist organization, which has Salafist ideology, is making alliance with the historically with secular Baloch organization? Although of late you find a lot many Baloch people in the ranks and files of the sectarian militant organization, but traditionally, historically, the Baloch are considered to be a secular people. So all these things, and how they are really converging their ideological frames to come into this alliance. And a lot many incidents of terror have been jointly claimed by these organizations. So this is broadly the problem which is there in Balochistan, and it needs a comprehensive evaluation. And Pakistan Army in its subconventional warfare doctrine has already acknowledged the role of political primacy, where the political leadership has to confront, and the military campaigns are not the means to end it. They are just one of the prongs of the overall strategy. So I think a good evaluation is required to comprehensively, deal with the problem. And you asked for the role of National Counterterrorism Authority. It's a very good
Yeah.
question. Actually, traditionally, this this authority should be spearheading all the things, because their mission is to lead, coordinate, and synchronize efforts to take all stakeholders on board to eliminate counter-terrorism from Pakistan. And its board of governors has all the top echelons of the country, like all the DGMI. Then there is one two-star general from ISI, all the IGPs, Inspector General Police, Federal Interior Minister, everybody. But unfortunately, if I may not sound very blunt, is a white elephant, and this dead horse is a dead horse. You just imagine that they have a DG for preventing and countering violent extremism. They have a director general for that. They have a director general for communication and outreach. They have the DG research and development. Now you see the organizational infrastructure, and what is their output? Their output is nothing. You go onto their website and you see that they have not, the research output is not there. For instance, you click on the research repository, is empty.
Yeah.
And they have only the annual reports, and that too missing for some years. So basically, the problem is that unlike West, there's no culture of engaging the subject specialist and engaging the practitioners for going through evidence based research and analysis, the robust research and analysis. Sometimes, policies are based on the political gains generally. I'm not blaming any party or anybody. And then there's not a lot of thought process that has gone in usually, because if your section officer, if some bureaucrat put you up a research draft, so that not necessarily be has undergone a thorough research or the robust research with the scientific methods and how the things they come up, because we have the cutting edge research methodologies where you can quantitatively look at the trajectory of any issue. But unfortunately, that's not the case. Unlike West, in the West, I remember, I know that on every matter of national security and every matter of national significance, they engaged people from academia, they engaged the practitioners, and evidence-informed policy making is done. Whereas in case of Pakistan, that's really lacking. And this platform of NACTA, is not working as it should have been.
That's right. I'll just bring you to another question emanating from this discussion so far, which is one of the central themes in your book, which is the concept of winning hearts and minds. So given the current socioeconomic political tensions in Balochistan, as you summed up earlier quite succinctly, how effective do you think, and considering what NACTA's ability or inability and the overall performance of Pakistan security paraphernalia, how effective do you think this approach has been recently in Balochistan?
Yes, it was very successful, and it has been successful because in Balochistan, a large number of population, which is mainly of the youngsters, they are, I can term them, they are sitting on the fence. Actually, they are not with the insurgent narratives, and they just want to weigh and see what is happening. So, I mean, this winning hearts and mind was really helpful in attracting those people towards the government side. The problem is that each of the past governments have done something very good also. Like, for instance, Aghaze-e-Haqooq-e Balochistan, the Balochistan package under the premiership of Yusuf Raza Gilani Saab. It was wonderful. It was very good, and it was warmly welcomed. Then in another government, once Mia Shahbaz Sharif was the chief minister, so in National Finance Commission Award, Punjab just gave 1% of its share to Balochistan. Again, very good thing. And same is with the government of PTI, they have again done some good things, but the unified effort is not there. And above all, the role of military is very positive in winning hearts and minds, because I give you the recent example of the flash floods in 2022, in August 2022 in Balochistan. They were just devastating. And the relief work, which has been done by the Pakistani army, was not only lauded and commended by the national media, but the international media and even the Indian media. And we lost the Corps commander during one of the relief operation, and 5 high-ranking officials in a heli crash there. And then Pakistan Army has established many vocational training institutes, water filtration plants, cadet colleges, free medical camps. But the problem is that these efforts are in bits and pieces. They are not unified. They need to be unified to get the concordant gains, actually. So overall, they address one segment, but the other segments are left. So that's a problem, actually, which is the key where they need to focus.
Yeah, because all of these things which you have mentioned as part of the winning hearts and minds, in my view, hearts and minds cannot be won when there are so many allegations of human rights abuses. And over the time, we have seen these allegations to be undeniable, and these have been by the military in Balochistan. So how does your book address these concerns? Because I think there has been some criticism that your book does not cover this aspect in detail. What's your take on the current human rights situation in the region?
Yeah, the issue of I think you're referring to the issue of forced disappearances,
Yeah,
probably.
yeah.
That's one of the main thing, actually. That is one of the main thing which has been realized by the military establishment there. And then we see up till 2022 and thereafter also there was decrease in that. There was decrease in that, and they passed a legislation that, okay, through that they gave it a political the legal cover, and they committed that they would produce the people who are suspects to the court of law. But unfortunately, and I remember the then Corps commander in Balochistan, General Asif Ghafoor, who had been DGISPR. So I remember in one of the youth convention, he said that I take a serious notice of it, and you will find a great reduction in that, and many people they reach back home. And this was accepted by Mr. Akhtar Mangal on the floor of the parliament also, that there is a downwards trend. But unfortunately, again, there is a surge. Again, there is a surge in that. And this is one of the sore points which need addressal. I must say, we just can't deny this.
Yeah, and plus, coupled with it is the Baloch youngsters' major concern about the employment situation on the Gwadar port and the CPEC related projects, even in Balochistan. Baloch youngsters, our Baloch youth does not share, is not, these opportunities are not shared with the Baloch people as much as they should have been. What do you say about that?
Well, I think
hearts and mind is not possible without that.
yes, exactly. And to address that, there have been many vocational training institutes which have been established. The one thing we need to see that there are some provincial subjects also. Whenever we talk to some Baloch nationalist, may he be a Pashtun but living in Balochistan, so they talk about they complained about the federation, which is not far from reality. Federation is responsible for many things. But what about the provincial subjects? For instance, the sitting chief minister of Balochistan had been, for more than 5 years, he had been the minister of interior. And now he's the sitting chief minister. He's a Baloch himself. And this education is, I think the provinces have autonomy in developing this education and establishing educational institution and vocational training institutions. It's a more of a provincial subject. So I think some responsibility comes on the shoulder of the provincial government as well. And
A
of
lot
course,
of a lot of responsibility is should be put there. But Khurram Saab, I would remind you that including Sarfraz Bukti, the current leadership, the provincial leadership, is considered more than they are considered the representative of the ordinary Baloch. They are considered as a representative of the military establishment. So whatever the provincial government does actually is considered a deed of the military establishment. What do you say about that?
I mean, that's where this disinformation and misinformation should be tackled with. It's not the case exactly, because I mean, Sarfraz Bukti is not the only person who had been in power. There are a lot many other, like Dr. Malik Baloch, for instance. I name him. He's one of the. Let me highlight that during his time, the law and order situation was wonderful. Was comparatively, in just I'm comparing. He initiated DDR program, disarmament, demobilization, and reintegration. He was again a Baloch. He was from Balochistan, and he was from a very own, I mean, from a very humble background, very educated man, reformer, researcher. So, I mean,
I hope
this.
you understand the difference between Dr. Malik Baloch and Sarfraz Bukti. You cannot put
Yeah, yeah, I
in
do.
one, on one side. He was an aberration in the system. Otherwise, and that aberration came to, to the fore because of the alliance of Pakistan People's Party with the National Party, then National Party. So,
Yeah.
on the whole, the Baloch leadership that comes to the ruling in Balochistan is we do know those who have been reporting that region, they do know that they have the blessings of the military establishment.
Well, I mean, that there, as a researcher, I can tell you that there are no empirical evidences onto that. This can be the perception. I do not deny it, and I do not disagree with it absolutely. There can be the cases, but it's not that 100% or everybody is being dictated. For instance, the development funds of the parliamentarians, for instance, in all the government, they get hefty funds. Where they are gone? Who stops them doing the development work in their constituencies and all that? So I think this is more stronger perception, and here the information campaign and influence campaign and all this, to which Mr. Gentao he referred to, should come into play. And that's what I was referring to, that just the kinetic action is one prong of overall strategy. The other prong is winning consensus amongst the masses, and that has to be that requires a very comprehensive strategy, which should include everybody, all the stakeholders. And once I say stakeholders, let me highlight here that Iran is also to an extent a stakeholder in Balochistan. We need to get Iran on board to a certain extent, of course, because they have also the stakes as far as the Baloch insurgents are concerned. They are also the troublemakers in Balochistan Sistan. So bringing all the stakeholders together and the unified policy which address this, countering the extremism and these narratives, is very, very important. And I agree that this perception is, I just read an interview of Bramdag Bukti. He says the CPEC is the economic colonization of Baloch, for instance. I mean, very strong words. He gave the statement to Deutsche Welle, the national German TV. So, I mean, some concordant steps and some comprehensive policy should be there to address these. And of course, actions speak louder than the words. So action and implementation is always very, very important. And then the last thing is the consistency in the policy. Unfortunately, we don't have a political culture that the sitting government can continue any of the good policies of their predecessor, may it be in the national interest. So I think we need to curb that culture, and that's what it is.
Yeah, but there needs to be a greater space for the dissenting voices. And whatever Mr. Brahmdas Mukti has said, we might not agree with it, but there should be a space to discuss that and
Exactly.
to criticize, have a critical view on CPEC programs and projects and Pakistan Federation's role in that. And Baloch concerns need to be considered in the
Exactly,
in
That's what it is.
discussion.
Dissent is not a crime.
Absolutely, absolutely. And also, just for the sake of our editorial policy, I'll have to assert that the entire discussion about the Balochistan government's provincial government being overwhelmed by the military establishment's nudging is not merely disinformation. I think and it's not merely perception. There's fact to it, and there have been voices from Balochistan, Baloch voices who have been raising voice against it and have been actually physically protesting against it as well. So we just wanted to remind our viewers of that aspect. But we come to an end with my last question, Khurram Sahab. Given the current geopolitical climate, what are your predictions for the future of not just the counterinsurgency in Balochistan, but also the progress of the CPEC projects? Do you foresee any significant changes in strategy or approach towards that?
Yes, this depends that if the results and the earlier operation like Zerbeas, Radul Fasad, they have been thoroughly analyzed. This depends. And this, as we have heard from the defense minister up till now, that this operation, the forthcoming one, which is Resolve for Stability, Azme Istehkam, is different from that. And all the things have been catered for. And I think in the precarious economic situation where your economy is going down and down, this is a lifeline for you. And if you're as a country, if we are successful in overcoming the security issue and the CPAC progresses, so it will in turn benefit our economy. It will help reducing the inflation. It will attract more partners in the CPAC from GCC countries, which had shown their interest earlier, but then because of security and depleting economy, they just went aside. So I think there's no option. There is no other option. They have to. And uh, let's hope for the best, and let's hope that it should bring some visible changes actually. So the security perception uh, also can only improve if there are on ground results actually. So let's hope for the good, because we don't have much details about this operation, the forthcoming one, at as yet. But I wish and pray and fingers crossed. Let's hope for the good.
Absolutely. And I was just talking to one senior official, and he said that Azme Istehkam is not an operation, it's a strategy. And under this strategy, the forces on ground will decide whether an operation is necessary or not. So we'll just wait and watch. With this, we come to an end of the program. As we wrap up, it's clear that the security and development of CPAC remains pivotal for both Pakistan and China. And influencing regional stability and global geopolitics. All of this comes together, and the intersection of military strategy, economic development, and human rights continues to shape the narrative in Balochistan, as our esteemed guest also said. And it is crucial for stakeholders to consider comprehensive solutions that address all aspects of the conflict. We hope this conversation has shed light on the complexities surrounding the CPEC and the ongoing efforts to secure it. Stay tuned for more in-depth analysis and interviews on the issues that matter. With that, I thank my guest, Mr. Khurram Siddiqui, for being with us. I'm Marvi
Thank you,
Sirmed.
Marvi. Thank you very much. It was a
Thank
pleasure to
you.
be on your
Thank you
show.
very
Thank you.
much. I'm Marvi Sirmed, and this has been Unraveled. Thank you for watching. Until next time, stay informed and engaged. Good night.